Based on the incredible Ghost in the Shell TV show, this is Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, a 2004 release for the PlayStation 2. An excellent game that has many of the same actors that you'll hear in the animated series, as well as some extremely well done cutscenes, but not as well done as the actual show.
This is the Major, now carrying out mission.
I'll come give you a lift when I'm done with my little errand.
Actually, I think Major Kusanagi looks a little weird in this one, but that's forgivable considering it's a subjective opinion and the rest of the game is so good that I don't care. The Jameson-type cyborg, straight out of the comic book. It wouldn't be Ghost in the Shell if you couldn't hack some things here and there. This is an action-adventure game where you can play as Major Kusanagi and Batou, two of the main characters from the Ghost in the Shell series, going all the way back to the early 1990s comic book from Masamune Shirow. When you play as the Major, you'll be engaging in some more complex jumping and acrobatic missions, which remind me of Mirror's Edge a little bit. And if you know Batou, he's all about straight-up action shooting and blowing things up, while also hitting on the Major. While this is far from being an amazing game, it's a very good game, especially if you're a fan of the series.
Open fire!
Primarily because the game does a great job recreating the Ghost in the Shell standalone complex universe that you've seen in the series, and brings a lot of the characters like Batou, Togasa, Saito, Ishikawa, and the Tachikomas to life in the game, along with, as far as I can tell, most of the real voice actors, from the English dub at least. This game is packed with wall-to-wall combat, as well as some tricky wall-crawling scenes like this one, where I got hung up for about 45 minutes trying to figure this one out. In general, the controls in the game are very good. You control the characters with the left analog stick and can rotate the environment with the right analog stick. And as you see, this does have optional widescreen support. One thing you'll notice right away when playing, at least on the normal setting, is that your characters can take a ton of damage, which is relatively consistent with this show. Very few things pose a threat to Major Kusanagi and Batou. And it's like that in this game too. You'll mow down waves of mindless enemies, and the enemy AI in general in this game is pretty bad. And occasionally you'll run into tougher enemy bad guys like helicopters or robots. The joy of this game is playing through the Ghost in the Shell standalone complex style storyline, controlling your favorite Section 9 characters as they kick ass, all the while enjoying a fairly good video game. While I am a huge Ghost in the Shell fan and have been for quite some time, that doesn't give this game an automatic free pass. It really is pretty good. But I think you'll get the most out of it if you're a fan of Ghost in the Shell, and primarily the Ghost in the Shell standalone complex series. Although if you've only read the comic book or seen the movies, you'll probably dig the game as well if you like this kind of game.
I'm on my way to the office block to try my luck there.
This also has up to 4-player multiplayer with the multi-tap on the PS2. Now, I would have liked to see this feature used more in the game: hacking. Occasionally, you can hack enemy bad guys like snipers, or sometimes just a random goon and use them to shoot your opponents and then jump off a ledge with them. If you like stealth action games, you might want to give this one a try, although there's really not that much stealth. You're much better off shooting everything in sight, and it's a lot more fun that way too. I should also mention that you're being scored through each of the missions and timed, which gives you some replay value, and there's some unlockable stuff when you beat the game. Of course, the real joy is just playing through an awesome Ghost in the Shell standalone complex storyline.
So that in itself doesn't really pose a problem.
Which means that the trouble is actually with those people.
Blackmail?
All of them say things like, stop the lies, tell the truth, and disclose the truth, or you...
Plus the armor-piercing round from behind. He wasn't shot very long ago.
It's an improvement over the original Ghost in the Shell game I reviewed for the PlayStation 1, the one with tricky controls, but don't worry, there are Tachikomas in this game. And it's always fun blowing things up with them. Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, the game is extremely easy to find and quite affordable these days. I highly recommend this one for Ghost in the Shell fans. While it's far from perfect, it's definitely an entertaining romp through the universe of Ghost in the Shell.